Hello, my name is Heath Merriman. I'm a second-generation golf professional. I've been teaching the game of golf for over 10 years. Today we're going to be covering the etiquette of the game of golf, as well as the rules of this great game that we know. The game of golf has a spirit that holds integrity very high and dear to its heart. So hopefully this video will help you understand many of the rules and also the etiquette that it takes to be able to play this game and be able to feel comfortable as well. The United States Golf Association, which is our governing body here for the game of golf here in America, puts out a rules and etiquette book every couple of years. I highly recommend that if you have access to be able to pick up a copy, it will help you a great deal. It has a lot of information in here and also gives you a lot of the terminology that we might encounter in this game. Also in this video, we're going to be covering the care of the golf course, which is an integral part of the etiquette of this game. Being able to take care of our golf course is going to allow not only ourselves, but the players behind us and players tomorrow to be able to enjoy the game the way that's meant to be played. The spirit of the game of golf is much different than any other game that we play. With no referees or umpires, we must call our own penalties on ourselves and play with the integrity that this game is intended for. Sportsmanship is very key in this game, and being able to play with the courtesy and etiquette of our fellow players and competitors so that we all can enjoy this great game and be able to play it and enjoy ourselves. So now we're going to get started with the etiquette portion of this video so that we can all be able to enjoy this game along with our fellow competitors and playing partners and all enjoy the game the way it's intended to be played. All right, here we go. We found ourselves here in the bunker. We're going to try and give you a little idea of how we should approach being able to take care of our sand bunkers out there in the golf courses, so we're keeping ourselves, the fellow competitors, and also our course superintendent happy. Here we got a situation where our golf ball is kind of up in a high lip. Most people feel they need to enter in the closest spot to their golf ball. Well, this wouldn't be the case here. If I step down into this high lip, I'm going to be kicking all the sand down low into the bunker. So a better thing to do here is actually to proceed to the lower point of the sand bunker here and walk in from that situation. I'm going to proceed to a lower part of the bunker so I can enter over here. This way I'm not kicking all the sand down from the lip down into the lower part of that bunker. And then I'm going to proceed directly to my golf ball, grabbing my rake. I'm going to place this over so it's out of my way, hitting my golf shot. Proceed to hit my shot, dig myself in. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fully rake. And one thing we want to make sure of is that we rake up through the lip as well, making sure that there's a nice consistency of sand there that the superintendent intended for this bunker. And then I'm going to rake myself out of the trap, back to where I entered into this bunker. Trying to get as much, actually all of my footprints as I can. And there I go. Now I've raked myself out of the bunker. I'm going to place this back into the trap as much out of the way as possible. And then one thing we also want to make sure that we kick the sand off our shoes if we can before we walk onto the green. Otherwise, we're going to be trailing a bunch of sand through the green that somebody else is going to have to putt through later on. As far as the placement of the rakes after playing in the bunker, it depends on that particular golf course. Some courses like to have the rakes actually placed inside the bunker. Some prefer out. What you need to do is make sure you consult the local golf professional at that particular club or the course superintendent if he is available and ask what their policy is. My club here, we actually play our rakes inside the bunker as much out of the way as possible, so that way they're not in play outside. One thing we should also keep in mind on the putting green, as far as etiquette is concerned, and this goes throughout the entire golf course, is we want to be able to remain as quiet as possible while our fellow competitors or players are making their putting stroke or shot. Here we're on the green, and my playing partners hit a nice shot. They've got about 4 or 5 feet for a putt here. So what I need to do is I need to be able to take this pin out for them so they can play their next shot. In keeping that in mind, there is some etiquette as to where we're going to place this pin. We obviously don't want to place it along their line. We also don't want to place this pin back behind the cup in case they would hit this ball a little hard, they might hit that pin. So what we want to do is we want to get over here get the pin out of their way and out of their direction of their line of putt. Now they're able to hit this putt without having to worry about the pin. So now that I've pulled the pin for my partner here, a couple things I need to keep in mind as far as etiquette so he can be able to have a chance to make this putt. First thing is, we do not want to be walking in their intended target line here. So I always want to ask my playing partner, where is his target line, and then I'll make sure that I'll walk on the outside of that so we're not putting any spike marks in his line. The other thing we want to make sure, as they're getting ready to hit their putt, that I'm not standing in any direct line as they're making their stroke. That also would be very incourteous, be it behind the cup or also if I'm standing back behind the golf ball. Here I found ourselves in a situation where my golf ball is actually in front of my playing partner's. Obviously I need to be able to move my golf ball so he can play his putt. What I'm going to simply do is I'm going to place a marker behind the golf ball, slide it up right up behind it. Now I can take my golf ball out of the way and my golf ball is out of play. My coin is actually still in his way though, so we got to be able to move that. What I'm going to simply do is I'm going to pick out a vantage point here where I can place my putter head towards that vantage point, and now I can simply pick up that coin and place it at the toe of that, remembering what my vantage point is, because I'm going to have to come back here and return and do the exact opposite to place it. One thing I think that a lot of people get confused with around putting greens is who is away in regards to being on a putting green and maybe even possibly being off the putting green. It's always a situation that whoever is furthest is always going to be the next to play, regardless if they are on the putting green and the other person is off. Here we can see we have a situation, this person is not on the putting green where this person is. But the situation still lies that this ball is going to proceed next in the stroke before this golf ball is going to be played. All right, here we found ourselves a situation where we actually hit the green, made a ball mark on the green. So we got to be able to repair this so the people behind us can be able to enjoy the green the way that we just found it as well. To fix this, the first thing we need is we need a ball divot repair tool. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go all around this ball mark here, pushing in. That's the first thing we need to understand. I've seen too many people come in here and you want to pop up. What we want to do is we want to push the grass back in towards the center to begin with. Something along this line here. So now that I've got that grass in there, now I can go underneath and I can pop it up just a little bit here. Get it about level with the rest of the ground. And now what we want to do is we want to use our putter here to tap this down as nicely as possible. One thing to keep in mind as far as the etiquette around the greens, there's a universal rule, and that is you're always going to fix your ball mark and one other. Here I've hit my golf shot up under the green. I've got a ball mark over here, but looks like somebody else has neglected to fix theirs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix that ball mark for them. As I push in on the sides here, pulling the dirt back into the middle, pop it up just a little bit, tap that down. So there we go. And now what I must do is I must proceed over to my own ball mark and repair that as well. Pushing in on the sides, bringing that turf back in. And now I'm going to pop it up just a little bit in the center. And there we go. It's a great way to be an ambassador of the game of golf. Remember, always, when you're on the green, fix your ball mark and one other. Here we are, we find ourselves in the tee box. There's a couple points of etiquette we should understand when we're getting ready to tee off on any golf hole. As I'm standing here getting ready to play this golf shot, my normal pre-shot routine, I'm going to stand here, I'm going to take a couple practice swings. Oops. Well, here's our first problem. I've just taken a practice swing and I made a divot. One thing we should understand is when we're taking a practice swing, either step off to the side of the tee box, make your swing so we're not going to be able to not make that divot behind the golf ball, or make sure that when you're swinging that you're going to catch air and not hit that tee box. That's just unnecessary problems that we're causing for our superintendent with the practice swing. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to fix this, and what I've got is I've got a nice mixture of sand and seed that my superintendent has supplied for me. I'm going to place that in that divot there. There we go. That'll help level out the teeing area and also help that grass grow up through there a little bit easier. So now that we fixed that, a couple other things we should understand is that the order of play on the tee box is determined by the previous hole. The person obviously with the lowest score should be playing next, and then we're going to proceed as the scores go. So now that we understand our order of play going into this hole, I'm next to hit this golf shot. So I set up to hit this golf ball. I make sure that I'm behind the tee box, behind the tee markers. Okay. One thing we also want to understand is that you want to pick up your tees, be it whole or broken. First off, the broken tees, they litter up the tee box and make the golf course look a little bad. But also the mowers that come through, it's going to really bother them as well. So please make sure that you pick up all golf tees off the tee. Right in the middle of the fairway here. As you can see, as I proceeded to my golf ball, I took a nice 90-degree angle right directly to my golf ball from the cart path, because that is what our course superintendent decided was going to be the conditions for today's round. One thing we should always keep in mind when we're going to take a motorized golf cart on any course is that you should check in with the golf professional or the course superintendent to understand what their rules of the day might be it cart paths only, 90 degrees, or maybe they might even let you just stay in the rough. Another thing, as you can see, as I pull up to my golf ball here, I make sure that my cart is behind the golf ball at all times whenever I'm going to be playing a golf shot here. We don't want to have golf carts out in front of us, because then we're going to have situations where we may have somebody get in trouble or get hurt. A couple things that we should really understand when using a golf cart, or even a push cart for that matter, is that they must remain away from the tee boxes and greens. Some courses, such as this one here, has markers actually about 20 yards in front of the greens, where that's the point that all golfers must return back to the cart paths and not bring those push carts or those carts near the green or tee boxes. One thing we need to keep in mind as we're playing our round of golf here is pace of play. Pace of play in golf is very important, and all groups should understand that it is their responsibility to actually keep up with the group in front of them, not staying in front of the group behind them. That being said, there are some guidelines and some scenarios that we can administer through our round that will help us keep pace with the group in front and also be able to play nice and quickly. So now that we understand that we're going to try and keep a nice pace here, we should understand, as we're playing with 2-3 partners, in a threesome or a foursome, take your practice swings and get your mind set to hit your golf shot as your other partners are playing their golf shot. I've got a gentleman over here, he's getting ready to play his shot. I'm going to sit here and take my couple of practice swings, get myself all ready. He has just played his shot. I am ready to go now. It is now my turn, so I can step up and hit this golf shot and be ready to play. The other person behind me, he should be ready to go as soon as I make impact with my golf ball as well. Now that we're covering the pace of play, one thing that we need to understand is any groups behind us playing faster than our particular group, we need to allow them to play through. To be able to do that in a smooth transition, make sure that we have the group behind, hit their golf shots, wave them up through, make sure your whole group is out of their way, and then as soon as they're out of the way, we'll proceed with our round. One thing to keep in mind when we are going to let a group play through, this is a gentleman and ladies game. Be courteous to the group behind and also be courteous to the group in front. They'll let you play through. Just wait for them to give you the signal that they're going to wave you up and through. Once they do that, then we'll each take our turn hitting the golf shots through as the other group proceeds to get out of the way. Another way that we can keep the pace of play moving as well is to limit the practice swings. We should develop a pre-shot routine that's going to be nice and quick, but still get you flowing into a motion to be able to hit the optimum golf shot that you can possibly hit. Probably the best scenario would be to just take one nice smooth practice swing, get a feel for the swing that you're going to hit, then let's go ahead and let's step up to that golf ball. If we're taking 3-4 swings before every shot, you're going to probably add a good 20 to 25 minutes throughout the round of golf. As we discussed earlier on the tee box, anytime we're taking a practice swing, we want to make sure that we are not taking any divots. You should be swinging through the air, making sure, or at least just brushing that grass, but we do not want to take any divots with a practice swing. So then when you step up, go ahead and drive through and make that nice crisp contact with the golf ball on the ground. As we're on the golf course, even in the fairway condition here, I'm going to proceed to hit my iron shot. And as with most iron shots that I play, I'm probably going to make a divot here. And I did. So now what we need to do is we need to make sure that we're going to repair this divot in the best way possible. So what we're going to do is we're either going to replace that divot with the turf that we just displaced, unless we're not able to do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to proceed to my sand bottle here. I'm going to pour a little bit of sand into this divot. Level it off nice, and then I'm just going to step on it, make sure it's nice and even with the ground, and then that way the grass will grow up nice and even through that turf. During this video, we're going to come back and we're going to reference back to the rules of golf from the United States Golf Association to be able to help us through some of the more typical situations we might find ourselves on the golf course. So here we are. We're going to start our round of golf here, and the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure how many clubs I've got in this golf bag here. We have a 14 club limit for a round of golf, and I've got, all right, so I'm in good shape. I've got 14 clubs here. If I did have a 15th club, I would actually incur a 2-stroke penalty for each hole that I played with that extra club, up to 4 strokes for a round of golf. I've played my golf shot, and as I come up to my golf ball, I can see, I think I've got a pretty good crack in this golf ball. What I need to do now, and under Rule 5-3, is I need to declare to my playing partners or opponents that I believe this golf ball might be unfit for play, and I need to mark it and check that out. So for example, I would say, Fred, I believe my golf ball is unfit for play. I'm going to mark this and check it, and then they would have also the opportunity to come over here and take a look at it as well. What I'm simply going to do, I'm going to mark my position. Now I may pick up that golf ball, check it out, and sure enough, I do. I have a good crack in this golf ball here. I would let Fred take a look at this golf ball as well, make sure that he is in agreement with me that this golf ball is unfit for play under 5-3. And now I may exchange it, and I've got a pretty good golf ball here in my pocket. So now this golf ball is in play. I'm going to place it in the same position, recreating the same lie I had. Now I'm going to take this tee out. Now my ball is back in play, and I've got a golf ball that's ready to go. So I did that procedure correctly, but if I did not allow my playing partners or opponents to be able to check that golf ball out, or if I did not mark that correctly as I was pulling the golf ball up, I would incur a 1-stroke penalty under Rule 5-3. Well, I just played my golf shot, and looking at the golf ball beside me here, I realized I just played my opponent's golf ball. So I just hit a wrong golf ball. Under Rule 15-3 states, we are now going to be incurred a 2-stroke penalty. I must grab my opponent's golf ball, place it as close as I possibly can to the position that he was in, and now I can go back and play this golf ball. The strokes that I played with the wrong golf ball do not count in my score, so now I would take that 2-stroke penalty and I'd be playing from this position. Also stated in 15-3, if I do not correct my mistake before I leave this green or declare my intention to do so before I finish my round, I will be disqualified from the match. Well, we just seen the situation of me playing a wrong golf ball. What could I have done to keep that problem from happening? The first thing is we need to mark our golf ball with some type of distinctive markings. That way we can easily identify, a golf ball that might possibly be the same that somebody else is playing. The other thing, under 12-2, we are allowed to identify this golf ball by picking up and taking a look at it. But what we must understand is I need to announce my intentions to my playing partners opponents, etc., and let them have the opportunity to observe the lifting to check to see if this golf ball is mine. I'm now just going to pick this golf ball up. I see that markings there. You are allowed to clean the golf ball just enough to identify the golf ball, but no more than that. I have identified that this is my golf ball, so I did play the wrong golf ball. I am now going to place this golf ball in the same spot, recreating the same exact lie that I can. Just like that. And now I'm able to play this. Breach of this rule would incur a 1-stroke penalty. Okay, I'll play this shot here. Well, I've just addressed the golf ball. The golf ball rolled back on me here. Under Rule 18-2A, I would incur a 1-stroke penalty here for addressing this golf ball and the ball moving. I now would be required to place that golf ball back in its original position. I would incur that 1-stroke penalty, and now I'd proceed to play this shot again. Okay, to begin with, we always start each hole by teeing off, obviously a par 3, par 4, or a par 5. A couple things we need to understand as we're getting ready to tee off on a tee box here, and that's obviously we have a couple tee markers to begin with. We need to understand how we can get ourselves set up and where we can tee this golf ball up at. Our 2 tee markers here are set up, go in this direction here. I've got a rectangular area that's created by these tee markers 2 club lengths back. So what I can figure out here is as I take my club, I've got a rectangular area from about that position. So I know I've got an area that I can tee this golf ball up anywhere in between those 2 tee markers, coming back 2 club lengths from that position. We obviously cannot tee up in front of the tee markers. It must be even or behind, but we can stand outside the tee box area. So it would be very legal of me if I wanted to tee this golf ball up over in here. It is okay for me to stand outside the tee box area and proceed to make a stroke from this situation right here. It is important to understand that addressing the golf ball throughout the golf course, with the exception of a hazard, and we will cover that next, consists of taking your stance and then addressing this golf ball by laying that club down on the ground. I now have addressed this golf ball. So now that we have addressed this golf ball, what I want to make sure that everybody understands is that if I'm setting up and I accidentally knock that golf ball off that tee, there's no stroke here. We may grab that golf ball, re-tee it, and now we can begin play. There could be no stroke without intent. Proceeding on with the teeing ground area here, one thing we need to understand, everybody hits bad golf shots. To be able to speed up the play of a round of golf, we have the ability to be able to declare a provisional golf ball. So as I sit up and hit this golf shot here, well, I've hooked this shot and it could possibly be out of bounds. One thing we definitely need to understand here is I know that I'm not in a hazard out there. And that's a key situation, because if we are in a hazard, we're not able to play a provisional golf ball here. But I believe I might be out of bounds. So what I can do now at this point is I must declare to my playing partners or opponents here that I am going to play a provisional golf ball. At that point, I may proceed to tee that golf ball back up, set up, and now I'm able to play this golf shot. And if I'm not able to find the first ball, then we can go ahead and we can play the provisional golf ball after that, as stated in Rules 27-2A. So now that I have played the provisional golf ball, if I do not find that original golf ball, I now have been incurred a stroke and distance penalty. So now I'm going to be lying 3 out there where my provisional golf ball lies. Here I've hit an errant shot. and my golf ball, I find, is pretty close to the line, the out of bounds line that the course has set up with the 2 white stakes that we have here. What I can do is I need to get back in here and take a look down my out of bounds line with the other one in line with this one and determine if this golf ball is still in play. One thing we need to understand is the golf ball is only out of bounds if the entire golf ball lies outside that line. My golf ball is actually right on the line. It looks like it's even split in half. My golf ball is in play. If my golf ball was outside the out of bounds line, I would actually incur a stroke and distance penalty here, and I might have possibly played a provisional shot back there if I had known that I might possibly be flirting with being out of bounds. Then I would have that I'd be lying 3 out in the middle of the fairway. Obviously here I'm still in play, so I'm going to try and hit this golf shot. But I can see that this stake right here is going to affect my line of play. My club is actually coming back in this. I do not get relief from that stake. I either must play this shot, or as I just stated earlier in the video, we can take an unplayable lie here, take a stroke penalty, and we would have those 3 options that we stated that we have when we take that, that situation of relief. Well, I've hit my golf shot, and I know it buried into the lip of this bunker here. I can't even find my golf ball. I can't see where the golf ball is. Under Rule 12-1, I am allowed to brush aside just enough sand to locate the golf ball, but I am not allowed to brush too much sand to identify the golf ball. But remember, there's no penalty for playing a wrong golf ball out of a hazard. So all we need to do is just locate this golf ball. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in here. I know it came in this area somewhere. Well, there. I can see a golf ball right there. So now what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to go ahead and play this golf shot right there. I just brushed off just enough sand to be able to locate it. Now I must play it. If it is not my golf ball, then I can come back and try and locate the correct one, because again, there's no penalty for playing a wrong golf ball out of a hazard. Okay, if I did not proceed under the Rule 12-1 correctly, under 12-2, I would incur a 1-stroke penalty here for removing too much sand to identify this golf ball in a hazard. So now that we've addressed this golf ball, as I set up to hit this shot, if I accidentally set this club on the sand, I'm now in breach of Rule 13-4A, which states that we cannot ground a club in a hazard. I have incurred a 2-stroke penalty. This also includes any type of touching of the bunker, be it standing here and letting that club sit down. This is also in breach of that rule as well. So we must be very careful when entering a bunker that we do not allow ourselves to touch this sand, so we incur that penalty. Well, we found ourselves in a tough situation here. Not only have we hit the golf ball into a hazard, but we've also got a loose impediment here in the form of a tree branch. It's obviously fallen into the bunker here. Well, here we've got a situation where we're going to have to play this golf shot. If I came in here and removed this branch, I now would be in violation of Rule 13-4C, and I would incur a 2-stroke penalty at that point. So what best we would have to do here is we have to play the golf shot and kind of see what happens. Well, here I find myself in a situation, I just hit my golf ball into the hazard. As we can see, this is yellow staked, so this is a water hazard. We actually have 2 different water hazards on a golf course. If you have a yellow staked, again, that's a water hazard. If we have a red staked hazard, you have a lateral water hazard. And that's going to affect the options that you have to be able to take relief or take your drop from those situations. I hit into this hazard, again, it's yellow staked, so I've actually got 3 options to me here. My first option is if my golf ball, if I can locate it and it is playable, I may play that golf shot out of that hazard. Obviously we cannot ground that golf club because then we would incur a penalty. My second option would actually be a stroke and distance situation where I could go back play the shot from where I previously hit from, take a one-stroke penalty, and proceed under there. My third option to me would be figuring out my line, which is this direction here from that pin, and I could take the spot from where I entered and I can go back as far as I would like, keeping myself on that line from where I entered to the pin. If this was a red staked hazard, I would actually have another option to me here. And that option being I could drop the golf ball where I entered the hazard, regardless of where the location of the pin is. So again, under Rule 26, with the water hazards, you have a few options to you. I suggest that you go back and you take a look at the USGA's golf rules and take a look at the options that you have to you, because you have some different situations that we can probably help ourselves from this tough situation when we find ourselves in a hazard. Okay, well, I just hit my golf shot, and as you can see by this red line that's painted around, that signifies that we are in a lateral water hazard here. The good news is there is no water in this lateral water hazard, so it is playable. A couple things we're going to take into effect here, and the first one being is we've talked about in hazards we cannot ground our golf club. Well, one thing we are allowed to do, and here's the situation I find my ball in, is when we find ourselves in high grass, we can let that club touch the high grass. That is not a penalty, it is permissible. So under Rule 13-4, if I did ground this club, it would be a two-stroke penalty here. But I am allowed, again, to hover this golf club and touching these high grass areas or weeds, what have you. The other thing is we can see here the situation, and we've talked about this, is I am not allowed to move a loose impediment in a hazard. I've got this little branch right in front of my golf ball. I am going to have to play this golf shot with that little branch right there. So that is going to be a tough break, but we're going to try and give that a shot anyway. So here we go. Well, we've already covered a situation without a bounce stakes or anything of that nature where we did not get relief when our swing, our golf ball, or our club comes in interference with the out of bounds stakes. Well, here you can see I've got a lateral water hazard stake here, and the great thing about this is we do get relief from this. I can remove this stake before playing this golf shot, because as you can see hitting this direction, that this stake is definitely going to affect the line that I'm trying to swing on. So I am allowed to remove this stake, place it over the side, and now I can proceed to play this shot. Afterwards, I'm going to replace that stake back into its original position here. Well, I've just located my golf ball, and it's in a white painted area that the tournament committee has done, signifying that this is ground under repair. We're going to approach this much like casual water, where we are entitled to relief in this position. Although if I do like the lie, I could possibly play this shot if I elect to do so. I am not forced to take relief here. I can't play this golf shot. One thing to keep in mind, much like casual water, it actually is set up to where we can take relief even if our golf ball is outside this. If my golf ball, I found, would be outside this area, but my stance would be in the ground under repair, I would be entitled to relief here as well. And this is covered under Rule 25-1. So remember again, when we find ourselves around ground under repair, we are entitled to relief both if the golf ball or our stands or club are affected by that ground under repair area. We would be entitled to relief, but we do have that option of being able to play this golf shot here. Otherwise, we can take relief in a situation much like casual water, where we would locate our nearest point of relief no closer to the golf hole, and we would have a club length from that position to be able to drop that golf ball in, and then we'll proceed to play that golf ball from that spot. Well, we've covered many different rules throughout this video. Obviously, some of them can be a little bit difficult, a little bit confusing. That's why we should definitely refer back to the United States Golf Association's Rules of Golf book. If we find ourselves in a tournament situation and we do have a doubt as to how to proceed, there is, under Rule 3-3A, a doubt as to procedure rule. And what that simply is going to allow you to do is, first off, you need to make your intentions known to your playing partners that you are going to play a second golf ball under that rule, and then you may play both shots in. At that point, you are going to go to the tournament committee after your round and let them make a ruling on what the situation should entail, and then your score will proceed as follows as to how they rule between your original golf ball and then the doubt as to procedure golf ball that you put into play out there in the golf course as well. So again, if you have any doubt out there as to how to conduct or how to apply a rule out there, play a second golf ball, announce it to your playing partners or opponents, let them know what you're planning to do, and then you may play the 2 golf balls in on that hole. Make sure both scores are written down, and then take that to the tournament committee after the round of golf and let them make the ruling, and then you'll be able to post that score. Okay, one thing that we should certainly understand here is how to drop a ball correctly, since it is covered in so many different situations throughout the golf course. Rule 20-2A states that when we drop a golf ball, first we're going to mark that position. What we must do is this golf ball must be dropped within, depending on the situation from which we're taking relief from, be it with a penalty stroke or without, we're probably going to have 1 club length from that position. So as 20-2A states, we must hold our arm out shoulder length, be it in front of you or to the side, and drop this golf ball in that manner. If this golf ball strikes me, an opponent, or anybody else, then we must redrop. We can redrop as many times as we need to in that situation. Any breach of Rule 20-2A shall incur a 1-stroke penalty. So again, keep in mind, you can place your arm out in front of you or side of you, but it must be shoulder length. We must have our arm extended as far out as possible, and then just simply drop that golf ball within that radius that we have determined from your relief. Let that drop. And as long as that hasn't gone any nearer to the hole from the position that you are in, or touch you or an opponent or any of your equipment, that ball is now in play. All right, there are a few situations where we would be able to redrop this golf ball without penalty. A couple of those situations would be if our golf ball would happen to roll into a hazard, we would redrop. If it rolled out of a hazard, if we're in one when we're taking relief, that would also require a redrop. If our golf ball would actually drop and go out of bounds, we would redrop in that position as well. Or if this golf ball rolled closer to that golf hole, again, another situation where we'd have to redrop that golf ball as well. One thing I want to make sure that we understand is when we are taking our relief, taking a drop from an obstruction, casual water, etc., that we do have the option of choosing what club we want to use to be able to take our club length or 2 club lengths relief here. So, this is where we might use the rules to our benefit here. Instead of using this club that I'm getting ready to hit, I might actually put this club in here. I'll take my driver out. Might give us a few extra inches to get ourselves away from this situation. And now I can use this driver, say if I'm taking 2 club lengths to that point, and now I place my tee there and I take relief from that situation. Now I can drop inside that tee, and again, I've used the driver here instead of the club I was getting ready to hit. Okay, our golf ball is now on the cart path, and the first thing we need to understand is the definition of a cart path is going to fall under an immovable obstruction. So that's going to be key here in making our ruling. Under Rule 24-2, we're going to get relief from this cart path, but there's a couple procedures we need to take to be able to make sure that we drop this golf ball in the right manner. My golf ball is sitting on the right-hand side of this cart path, so the first thing I must do is determine where my closest point to relief here is. Obviously, this golf ball is over here to this side, so I don't believe that my nearest point of relief is going to be over here off this side of the cart path. It's going to be over on the other side, obviously. So what I must do now is I'm going to determine my nearest point of relief. It's going to be probably right in here. And one thing, we must take full relief from the cart path, meaning our feet cannot be touching this cart path as well as the golf ball. So here I take full relief, take my stance. I determine that point with the tee. I am now going to pick up this golf ball. And from that tee area, I have a 1 club length relief area that I can go no closer to the golf hole. I'm going to come back about right here. I'm going to place this tee right at the end of that club. Now I can drop this golf ball anywhere inside that tee. I'm going to hold this golf ball out shoulder length. Drop that golf ball. It's inside my tee area. That ball is now in play. I'm going to pick up this tee, and now I may proceed to play this shot. I've hit my drive, and I've ended up on a sprinkler head. I'm going to get relief from this situation as well. This is an immovable obstruction. So, much like the cart path, the first thing we need to do is determine our closest point of relief. So I'm going to take my stance where I'm completely with relief with my club and my stance. I'm going to call it about right there, that position. I'm going to mark that position with the tee. And now I have 1 club length, no closer to the hole. I can come this direction, I can come this direction, or I could also come in this direction. I'm going to choose actually to come back about that point right here. Take that tee, mark that 1 club length position, and now what I can do is I need to drop somewhere inside this tee and that point of relief. Hold this ball out arm's length. That will work. I now may proceed to grab that tee. My golf ball is now in play. One thing make sure to understand is relief, like the cart path, doesn't just include the club, but also includes the stance. If my golf ball was out in this location and I was standing on that sprinkler head, I would actually obtain relief from that as well. This is under Rule 24-2, and breach of rule would be a 2-stroke penalty. Well, I found my golf ball in the root system of this tree here. I'm playing in this direction, and that's one thing that we need to understand. I have an unplayable lie here, and I may, under Rule 28, take an unplayable lie anywhere on the golf course with the exception of a water hazard. So here, I'm going to invoke that rule, and when I invoke this rule, I have 3 options that I can take. My first option is I could take a 1-stroke penalty and go back to where I played my last golf shot from and replay. My second option is I can actually take relief in 2 club lengths from that position and also take the 1-stroke penalty. My third option, and this is where we need to understand where our hole is, where the pin's located, I can take this golf ball on line of its position in the line of that golf hole and come back as far as I like. Also, again, taking the 1-stroke penalty. Here, I'm going to invoke my 2 club length relief with that stroke penalty. So I'm going to mark this position, pick that golf ball up, and now I can take my 2 club lengths, grab that tee, place that there, and now I can re-drop this golf ball. Pick this tee up. Now my golf ball is in play. I have relief from the tree. Again, I have taken a 1-stroke penalty along with that relief, and now I can proceed to hit this golf shot. Okay, I've hit my golf shot, and I just located my golf ball, and I'm standing in some temporary accumulation of water here. Under definition, this is casual water. There's a few other aspects that also are covered under that definition. That would be natural ice or snow. Also, we need to remember that any accumulation of water or any casual water can be either visible, or if I take my stance and then I see water, such as water coming up from under my feet, that would also fall under casual water as well. We are able to take relief from this situation. One thing I want to make sure that we understand though is dew and frost are not covered under casual water under that definition. So under Rule 25-1, I'm going to take relief from this situation. And one thing we must understand is we need to take full relief. I am not allowed to take relief and then have my foot still in this water. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to find where my closest point of relief is, no closer to that hole. And as I set up here, it's probably going to be about right in here, it looks to me, as I still have a little bit of water standing up in this area. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to mark this position where that club was. I'm now going to proceed to pick up this golf ball out of this casual water here. And now what I have is I have one club length no closer to the hole from that position. So I can come from here, I can come back this direction, or I can go this direction here. I'm going to come backwards a little bit more, lay that club down. I'm going to mark that position now for myself. And now I can drop inside this area. Okay, and that's a good drop here. I'm going to pick up that tee. Now this golf ball is in play, and now I am able to hit this golf shot and not be obstructed by the casual water I just found myself in. All right, so we've already talked about how in Rule 25-1 that we get relief from casual water, natural ice, frost, that type of thing. Here I find myself in a situation where somebody has dumped their cup of ice. I've got manufactured ice here. This would not fall under that situation under 25-1. This is actually an obstruction, and we may take relief from obstruction as we've seen earlier in the video. So again, this does not fall under natural ice, dew, or water, casual water. This would fall underneath an obstruction here, and then I would take relief as follows. Here you can see I've hit a pretty good golf shot. My ball is actually overhanging the cup here. So as Rule 16-2 states, I have the time to be able to grab my clubs and reasonably walk up to this golf ball. And at that point, I've got 10 seconds. And after that 10-second period, if that golf ball has not moved yet, it is deemed at rest. And then what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go ahead and play it. If that golf ball had fallen in after the 10-second period, I would then incur a one-stroke penalty. Okay, here we find ourselves. My golf ball is on the apron of the green. I've obviously got a little shot here to the pin. I've got a couple ball marks in my way here though. I've got a ball mark on the green and also a ball mark on the apron. Now, we can fix the ball mark on the green, but as Rule 16-1C states, we cannot fix the ball mark on the apron here. So at this point, what I can do is I can proceed to fix this ball mark. And now this ball mark that I've got, I'm going to have to figure out a way to play over this. So I'm probably going to choose a pitching wedge or something to be able to hit over, but I cannot repair that ball mark right there. One thing keep in mind under the etiquette of the game though, after I play this shot, I should go in and repair that ball mark for golfers that are behind me. Okay, well here we got a situation. I've just hit one of my opponent's golf balls and we both are on the green. As Rule 19.5A states, I now have incurred a two-stroke penalty for hitting another golf ball at rest while on the putting green. I should have asked that person to mark their golf ball, pick that golf ball up, and then I would have a clean lie to the putting green, to the cup. All right, here we've hit our shot up onto the green. And what we're going to talk about here is touching the line of putt. And this is Rule 16-1A. And what that simply states is is that we cannot touch the line in which we intend to hit this putt on. And what we mean by that here is I've looked at this putt, and I believe my putt's going to move a couple inches over. Either myself or my caddy, we can point to where we want to hit this putt, what line, and we're thinking about right in here. But once I let that flagstick touch down, I now have incurred a 2-stroke penalty. One thing also though, keep in mind, we are allowed to pick up any loose impediments or mark a golf ball on that line. So if I had a little rock here in this situation, I may pick up that rock and take that away. That is not a penalty. But we cannot touch that line with a flagstick, a putter, or anything else trying to indicate line of play here. Well, here you can see I laid my flag down on the green behind the cup. I've now hit the flagstick. So as Rule 17.3 states, I now have incurred a 2-stroke penalty, and I now must play that golf ball as it lies. So now I'm going to move this flagstick over. I'm going to hit after incurring my 2-stroke penalty. Okay, here we can find ourselves in a situation where I've got a big mound and I can't see the flagstick. So Rule 8-2 states that I can't have a playing partner or my caddy indicate my line of play standing up there with the flagstick or even just using himself. But what we must understand is once I set up to hit this golf shot, my caddy must now move off the line of play here while I'm making the stroke. He can stand there to line me up, but once I'm ready to make my stroke, he must move. Well, as Rule 17-4 states, if I hit a golf shot and my golf ball is overhanging the cup here up against the flagstick, either myself or someone authorized by me may come and grab this flagstick, and if we move it and the ball falls in, that ball is deemed to have been holed with the last stroke. If this golf ball should happen to move away from that cup, there is no penalty, and what I would have to do is I'd have to place that golf ball on the lip, and then I'd proceed to play my next golf shot from that position. Again, this is Rule 17-4. Here I've hit a golf shot, and I've got about 4 or 5 feet from my par, and I can have someone attend this flagstick. I might have trouble seeing the cup, etc. So I can't authorize someone to attend this flagstick here. Under Rule 17-3 though, we must make sure that this putt, since it's obviously on the green, does not strike this flagstick. We would incur a 2-stroke penalty here. So it is very important that if I am going to have this person attend this flagstick, that he does remove this flagstick before the ball reaches the hole. On a side note, as far as etiquette is concerned, keep in mind when we are going to attend a flagstick, we need to make sure that we're not standing in anybody else's line of putts. We're creating any foot marks on their green. And also when the sun is shining, we want to make sure that our shadow is actually being cast away from the hole. We do not want our shadow to be cast across that cup. So if the sun was back over here, I would make sure that I'm standing on this side of the flagstick, so my shadow would actually be cast this direction, and the person hitting the putt would have a clear view of that cup. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Our intentions were to cover as many broad situations that we would encounter in a round of golf as possible. Obviously, there's many rules out there. I highly suggest that you go out and grab a copy of the USGA's Rules of Golf book. It'll help any golfer out there, be it expert or beginner, to be able to cover some of the different situations we find throughout a round. Again, I hope that you enjoyed this.